Hello, OralCom 2. Good to see all of you. Well, we're still sheltering in place, aren't we? But we're going to keep traveling on. Today, I am here to talk to you about special objects. Now, I know this might seem like a strange topic, but special objects are a part of our everyday lives. You have them, I have them, your brother has them, your grandma has them, right? They are in your house, they're on shelves. Sometimes they're in front of you every single day. And sometimes you're wearing them like this. Today I am wearing a vest that belonged to my grandma Lucy. You might recall me talking about her. She has passed away, and I'm wearing a shirt that belonged to her. So this is a la probably 1960s. And so these are some of her clothes. I kept some of her clothes. So I'm thinking about Grandma Lucy. But before we really get into the directions of a speech that you're going to write about a special object, I want you to go to this week's lesson plans, and you're going to see from April 20th to 24th. If you go down, you can click on a set of directions that are going to take you straight to the special object speech, right? Here are the directions. So let's take a look at those together. You will write a 4 to 6 minute speech about one of your favorite objects. And it says we all have favorite objects that we care about and would not want to give up. For example, it could be a book or a piece of clothing or a game or a piece of jewelry, a baseball, or any object or trinket that you care about. So you're going to think about just one object that is important or valuable to you. And then you are going to write a minimum of a 2-page essay. You'll find the template for this on Google Classroom. Okay, so that way you can get to it easily and write your essay. We're going to go over, the sample essay that I have here in just a moment. But before we do, and it is my essay that I wrote, and we'll just kind of slide this down. I'm going to play a little bit of show and tell with you. I have 15 objects that I brought with me here today that I want to tell you a little bit about. And that way we can kind of have some fun. Okay, let's begin with one of my favorites. This one is let's see if we can bring it up to the camera here. This is a crocheted doll. My mom, when she was younger, she was incredibly talented. She used to sew all my clothes. I kind of looked like a circus clown. But she used to make my clothing, all of my Halloween costumes. I always had the most legit costumes. I remember one time I was a leopard. Anyway, I digress, but this is one of her pieces. She was very good at crocheting. So this is a full crocheted doll. She also was very good at making just your ordinary doilies, but more elaborate. And she made us a lot of cool snowflakes for our Christmas tree. So this is one of my favorites, and it reminds me of when my mom was younger and she had really talented hands and she could do that kind of thing. So let's see, let's look back here in no particular order. This is a sparkle monkey that I got from Mrs. Wyckoff. Hopefully you guys can see this. One year while I was grading research papers, she saw that I was really struggling like we all of us English teachers do during that time. And she bought me this sparkle monkey, and it used to light up. I don't think it will anymore, but yeah, it used to light up. So I would light it up every time I was grading research papers, and it would kind of sit off to the side. Let's see. I cannot forget to tell you about this. It may seem incredibly boring and ordinary, but it is a sparkly rock that came from a beach down in Missouri. It's where my family has been camping for over 30 years. It's called Sutton's Bluff, and there's a rocky beach. Those of you that have been camping down in Missouri know what that's like. You're really not supposed to take the rocks, but I have taken a couple over the years, and this is one of my favorites. It's got some nice sparkle to it. Let's see. Again, in no particular order, here's something for all you horror fans out there. I came home one day, and I found this rabbit sitting in my office, and it is a carnivorous rabbit. My sister Rachel made it for me because she's just that kind of person. And she used to leave little, what we call Easter eggs around my house. You know what I mean? I would come home and find like something odd or strange. In fact, right now I'm looking at, and you can't see, an unusual picture of George Costanza that she left on my bed one day. Let's go to the next object. Like I said, there are 15. This is a small jade falcon, and it reminds me of when I was in the samba band because I got it from one of our gigs that we were playing for some charity. The next object, you probably recognize this character from sci-fi, but this is Jabba the Hutt. I actually won him, so he's kind of valuable to me. Now, it used to be that the arms would move really well, but he's gotten kind of old and dusty, and I keep him up on a shelf. But it reminds me of a really fun time I had with one of my old best friends. And the next object that I see is a woven basket that came from South Carolina from the Gullah people. These are people that are descended from the slaves, and they weave baskets made out of sweetgrass, and it has a really nice, naturally sweet scent. So I have a few of these large and small around my house. This is one that's kind of small and manageable for the camera, but you can see how intricate it is, right? All of the weaving. They do it all by hand while the grass is wet. They weave it together. The next object I have came for me in the mail, and it goes with a collection of little Chinese vases, and it's from one of my best friends, Chuck Sanson, and he has been giving me strange presents all through the years. So this was just one of them that ended up on my doorstep. One time I came home and there was a cooler on my porch, and it was a bunch of frozen chocolate ice cream bars, just, with some dry ice because he thought it'd be fun. Yeah, that's how Chuck is. Okay, so the next object is a small medicine man, and I got him from visiting a Native American reservation. You can see he's covered with feathers. So there he is, kind of moving him off to the side. Let's see, the next object comes from SIU Carbondale, where I went to school and got my degrees, psychology, English, history. And this is, it says Tut 99. So this is a Saluki dog, comes from my alma mater, from my school. The next came from Graceland. You can't leave Graceland without getting yourself a beverage koozie, right? That's what I call it, a koozie. You put your beverage down inside of there. Let's see. The next object is one of my many bowling trophies, and it says Tuesday Night Mixed League. And there I am on the top, bowling away. I used to be a really great bowler. So as I'm showing these to you, because I just have a couple left, you want to find an object that actually matters to you, that you've kept, that you haven't thrown out, that really means something to you, because you're going to tell a story about it. And I'll explain that in a moment. I'm leaving kind of the best for last, the last ones. This is a painting that my brother-in-law made that's kind of a la Andy Warhol. If you don't know who Andy Warhol is, you should look up that artist. But then he even made the stick frame, and it sits on a bookshelf downstairs in my living room. So that's very special to me because we used to like painting together. And the next to last are a Mickey and Minnie doll that come from Japan. My friends Rob and Yayoi. Rob is Chinese and Yayoi is Japanese. And I have never been to Japan, but Yayoi knew that I liked Mickey and Minnie, and she got me these. Notice how they have the traditional Japanese clothing on, and apparently they're very valuable because they're very hard to find. You see how Minnie has her Japanese clothing on. So anyway, hopefully you were able to see that well enough. And then the last object, now I'm going to be honest with you, it can be kind of creepy for some people, but this came from my grandmother's house a long time ago. Now, it used to have a light. It could light up, and it is clearly a picture of Jesus, right? Or, gotta be careful with it. It is a porcelain head of Jesus. Now, the thing is that no matter where Jesus is, no matter where you are in the room, you see how you could walk past it and it looks like Jesus is always looking at you. So I'm turning it so you get the sense that Jesus's face is turning, but that's because it's concave. And so it gives you that interesting look, but it's got a little Bible on it and it's got the cross. And so that's one of my favorite objects, and that stays here in my office because it's very valuable to me. Okay. Could never replace it. I've never even seen anything like it. So, my hands are all dusty. Okay. So what are we really doing though when we find a special object? Well, we are thinking about how it matters to us, and we are going to tell a story about that. And so let's kind of go over those directions. It says you're going to write that 2-page essay, right? And then it says, on the day you present, we'll do this virtually. It says you need to have your typed essay, and we are going to find out what the essay is about before I read my personal essay and bring up the object that my essay is about. Okay, so getting hot in grandma's clothes. Okay, so let's go down and see what it says. Your essay must include an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. First, give your audience an introduction that prepares them to hear about your special object. You're going to start with a broad introduction that tells about your understanding of special objects. In other words, why do humans have a need to hold on to and keep special objects in their lives? Then you can give examples of special objects that are found in your house and refer to maybe 1 or 2 specific objects that you yourself own, or special objects that a family member has or that a friend has, okay? And then you'll give us a brief hint at what you're about to describe, and you must tell why this object is the one that is so important to you, okay? Second, you're going to transition into the main topic of your essay, which is your object. And boy, I can't wait to pull up what my object is. I can't wait, right? You're going to give the audience a hint of what they're going to learn about today. You're going to tell what the object looks like by describing it physically. But don't right off the bat name the object. Like, I don't want you to go, well, today I'm going to tell you about my special object, and it is a rock that came from Missouri. No. So keep the audience guessing at this point. Keep them guessing. What you're going to do is you're going to tell about the object size in inches or feet or millimeters. It kind of depends on the size. Like, look at the difference in size between this monkey and this rock. Even they're similar, but there's a lot of ways we can describe it. Or I'll just pick up my my Native American medicine man. He can be described in inches. So then you're going to tell about its color and its other traits. Is it light or is it heavy? You want to estimate about how much it weighs. And then what material is it made of? Does it have a certain texture? Is it smooth? Is it glass, right? Does it have a certain smell? I know that one is going to seem strange, but some objects do have a certain smell. That's why I wanted to point out my small basket from South Carolina, because it's made of sweetgrass. And even now, it has a particularly sweet grass smell. It's years old though. So tell the audience where you keep this object and how often you actually see it, or you look at it, or use it, or touch it. Because sometimes we've got things in our house that are special to us, right? But we hardly ever see it. And so is it something that's prominent in your life that you see every day? Or is it a little more subtle? Is it just kind of there? Like my Jesus, right? My Jesus. And we'll kind of keep Jesus right over here. Is it right there in your house and you don't really have to look at it every day? Tell about when you first acquired this object, right? Because this is special to you. You're going to compare it to other objects that people have, and whether a person would look at it and even understand or know its value, because I'm certain you would see this and you'd be like, what a junky piece of plastic, right? But for me, it's got a special story. So you can tell the audience what it is. At this point in the speech, you can go ahead and pull it out of the box, or the bag that you have and show it to everyone. And in this case, since we're doing it virtually, all you have to do is lift it up and show it to everybody on our Google Meet meeting. Okay, so you'll show them the object. Now, third, you're going to get to the real point. You've already done the description, right? Explain why it's something that you don't want to part with. And in reality, it's not the object itself that we want to hold on to for as long as we can. We want to hold on to the feelings and the memories that are associated with it, right? So you will tell the story of how you got it, and you will explain why it's valuable or important to you. You can elaborate. This is where you elaborate on your feelings you have when you consider this object, when you think about it. And then in the end, you're going to make a brief conclusion about your object, making sure to include the reasons why you selected that exact object from any others that you own. Tell about your feelings and leave the audience with a final impression of what this thing really means to you, but nobody else in the world, because nobody else in the world has this special object. I mean, you have the story, you know what it's all about, right, guys? So with that in mind, I am going to go ahead and stop this part of the video, and then I'm going to read the essay. And when you come back, you will have also noticed that I will click on the My Backpack sample essay that's here on the directions. I just told what my special object was, but you're going to click on that, and you can also look at some other sample essays. So we will come back in a second video to hear about that, okay? So signing off with this first video on the special object. See you guys in a minute.